pot calling the kettle black.
Whoa. That was some tea. That was shade. That was major shade.
Pot calling the kettle black. So, I mean, you're not insinuating that
he's
50
gay?
Cent is...
Oh my Lord, please. What? Girl, we gotta talk after this episode is over.
Wait, Vivica A. Fox, what are you insinuating?
Well, I mean,
he gave you...
No, he's not. I mean, we had a great time. I mean, but he's just seems like he's got something that's not quite clear.
Okay, settle in, because this is about to get juicy. You know how some celebrity feuds just simmer on the back burner, occasionally bubbling up with a little shade here and there? Well, the 50 Cent and Vivica A. Fox situation has been that for years. We're talking subtle digs, pointed comments, the whole shebang. They've been dancing around each other, trading barbs, but always keeping it relatively civil. Until now, things have officially jumped the shark, folks. Vivica A. Fox went on national television, and let's just say she dropped a bombshell. She made some pretty eyebrow-raising comments about 50 Cent's personal life, specifically hinting at his sex. Now, Fiddy is known for his clapbacks, and this time, he's coming in hot. We're not talking a gentle simmer anymore. This is a full-blown inferno. He's firing back with accusations of his own, and trust me, he's not pulling any punches. We're talking about alleged, botched BBLs, and a whole lot more that's definitely pushing the boundaries of what's considered friendly banter. This isn't just a little shade. This is a full-on war of words, and it's getting increasingly personal and, frankly, a little uncomfortable. So grab your popcorn, because we're about to break down exactly what went down and how 50 Cent is responding to Vivica's accusations. This is going to be a wild ride, okay? But wait, why is all getting so blown up right now? Let me tell you, it's all because Vivica went off and started talking about 50 unprovoked, and that started the whole feud. We were all taken aback when Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and his former flame, Vivica Fox, went their separate ways after what seemed like a genuine connection. But now, it appears there might be more to the story than we initially thought. Recently, some interesting claims have emerged about the rapper's private life. Things took an interesting turn during Vivica's appearance on Andy Cohen's late-night talk show. During the conversation, Cohen brought up 50 Cent's previous comments about the television show Empire's viewership decline, which the rapper had attributed to certain storylines. When pressed about whether she was suggesting something about her ex's orientation, Vivica's nonverbal response, a telling hair flip, seemed to speak volumes. The moment was so striking that even fellow guest Candy Burris couldn't maintain her poker face, visibly registering surprise at what was unfolding. Cohen himself suggested that perhaps the rapper's habit of making provocative statements about others online might actually be a deflection technique, potentially hiding aspects of himself he wasn't ready to acknowledge publicly. In that same WWHL interview, Vivica actually shared some positive memories about her time with 50 Cent. She mentioned they had a great time together, but then added that curious comment about him having something that's not quite clear. It does make you wonder, was she harboring suspicions throughout their relationship? What exactly wasn't clear to her during that time? The conversation took an even more interesting turn when Vivica referenced that controversial XXL magazine cover featuring 50 alongside Soulja Boy. Her choice of words was particularly eyebrow-raising when she suggested 50 looked like a booty snatcher on that cover. The implication was hard to miss. Now, before we proceed, I would not like to take any sides, but I want you to see who started this whole mess. Had Vivica not commented on 50's, we're pretty sure he wouldn't have went after her either as well. Anyway, at the same artist, Jaguar Wright also made some bold assertions regarding 50 Cent and fellow musician Soulja Boy allegedly creating intimate footage together. As you might expect, both 50 Cent and Soulja Boy didn't take these comments lying down, and while Jaguar wasn't relevant enough for them, they immediately went after Vivica. Soulja Boy's response was particularly harsh. He posted an unflattering photo of Vivica on his social media with a caption that read like a mock hotline number. "Hit up this cougar. She's single and ready to mingle. 1-800 100, Grady desperate for attention extension, I'm washed up. What's interesting is that many people called out Soulja Boy for this aggressive response, especially since Vivica hadn't actually mentioned him by name in her comments. His reaction seemed disproportionate to many observers, leading to questions about why he felt the need to defend himself so vigorously when he wasn't directly implicated. After that, he wasn't going to sit back. This recent whole controversy actually went even crazier after the event in Houston. Vivica A. Fox was making a grand entrance at a promotional event for her hair collection, and she certainly didn't hold back on the theatrics.
And I'm back on my grind. A psychic in my lifeline told me in my lifetime money will help light up the Chicago skyline, and that's why I'm 7 o'clock, that's prime time. Having a watch guy calling from the hotlines. Why you keep giving me hotlines? I'm a star, how could I not shine? How many ladies in the house? How many ladies in the house without a spouse? Something in your blouse got me feeling so ousted. What you about? On that indicator shit. Trade it all for a husband and some kids. You ever wonder what it all really mean? You wonder if you ever...
We're talking full red carpet treatment, an elaborate balloon arch, pyrotechnics, and even a throne for the queen herself. She clearly wanted to make a statement with this appearance. But what ended up stealing the spotlight wasn't her hair products or the extravagant setup. It was Vivica's noticeably different physique. The actress was sporting some significantly enhanced curves that immediately caught everyone's attention. And in true social media fashion, the comments started flying almost instantly. One person wrote, "I hate that society made Vivica Fox feel that getting a BBL at 60 was necessary." Another added, "Bruh, ain't no way Vivica Fox got a BBL done at 60 years old." The social media battle took an even more personal turn when 50 Cent decided to target Vivica's physical appearance. Clearly incensed by her comments about his he shifted his attacks to focus on her alleged cosmetic procedures, specifically calling out what he claimed was her Brazilian butt lift, BBL. In a series of particularly funny posts, 50 didn't hold back as he ridiculed what he described as a horribly done procedure. He shared unflattering angles and images, pointing out what he considered obvious signs that her enhancements were fake. His captions were deliberately cruel, drawing attention to supposed imperfections and suggesting that anyone could tell the work wasn't natural. These appearance-based attacks seemed designed to humiliate Vivica publicly, with 50 apparently believing that questioning her physical authenticity would somehow undermine her credibility regarding her claims about him. He even encouraged his followers to join in. What's even worse is that these two were really in love when they used to date.
11 years younger than you are, and you've said that energizes you.
Yeah, definitely makes me happy. Keeps a pep in my step for sure.
But for my birthday, he filled my entire house with my favorite flowers, which were Casablancas and gardenia.
Was he in love with you?
Very much. I mean, I think that the reason why it's haunted me for such a long time is I found out later that he wanted to propose to me. So that's why.
Right, okay. So I'll set the stage. They're in Monte Carlo. 50's got the ring in his pocket.
No.
That's
he was going to have a theater because I was excluded in the international tour of Kill Bill.
Is it true that you turned the 12-carat ring into a pair of earrings?
Yeah.
But that love didn't last very long.
The main thing that what killed the relationship was that we just went way too public, way too fast.
It was like a huge learning lesson for me. You know, it was the first time that I went public with the relationship that I should have maybe taken the time to get to know him.
With 50 Cent?
Yes, Curtis. The relationship didn't work out, but the press lasted a lot longer than the relationship did. So, I mean,
why do you think the press does that? Why do they like vilify the woman? Because when I read that stuff, I was like, it's so ridiculous.
No, it wasn't the press, it was him.
Oh,
no, it was him. He was like, she's exploiting me, she's trying to use me for, you know, to get publicity, and which was so not true. I was about to be in a film with, you know, Oscar-winning actors, and I've been acting for years. But, you know, I just considered that ghetto love. That was his way of dealing with the breakup.
Now, what became increasingly clear throughout this public spat was how deeply 50 Cent was affected by Vivica's insinuations about his sex. While he's built a career persona around being unbothered and above it all, her comments on WWHL clearly struck a nerve that his usual armor couldn't deflect. His response strategy was telling. Rather than simply dismissing her claims, he launched into an aggressive counterattack focused on her appearance. This classic deflection tactic seemed designed to shift attention away from her allegations and onto her physical attributes instead. The intensity and cruelty of his BBL comments suggested someone who was genuinely rattled, not someone who was merely amused by an ex's remarks. For a man who has carefully crafted an image of being untouchable and unfazed, his disproportionate reaction revealed vulnerability. The gay comments appeared to genuinely anger him, regardless of whether there was any truth to them. His need to retaliate with such personal attacks against Vivica's appearance came across as a desperate attempt to regain control of the narrative. Whether Vivica's implications held any truth is a separate conversation entirely, one that ultimately isn't for public determination. What's more relevant is how this exchange exposed the fragility beneath 50's tough exterior. For someone who regularly dishes out provocative comments about others, particularly targeting figures like P. Diddy and Jay-Z, he demonstrated remarkably thin skin when similar speculation was directed his way. But this isn't the first time these two have fought online. The situation between 50 Cent and Vivica has quickly escalated just like this earlier as well, when it all turned into a full-blown social media war. 50 didn't just stay quiet after Vivica's older comments. He amplified Soulja Boy's post with his own provocative caption, suggesting that Vivica's assumptions about his sex stemmed from intimate moments they had shared. His reference to 50 Shades of Grey and claims that he was somehow coerced added another layer of controversy to an already heated exchange. But 50 didn't stop there. He seemed determined to discredit his ex by exposing what he claimed were private conversations from their relationship. In one particularly revealing post, he alleged that Vivica once told him she could have played all the roles. Halle Berry did better than her, a comment he apparently found so outlandish that he just looked at her in disbelief. The rapper continued his online offensive by eventually taking to Twitter to simply label Vivica as crazy, seemingly attempting to dismiss her credibility altogether. What started as a suggestive comment on a late-night talk show transformed into a no-holds-barred public dispute, with both sides airing what would normally be very private details. It's a stark reminder of how quickly celebrity relationships can deteriorate in the public eye, especially when both parties have platforms to share their unfiltered thoughts. The back and forth left fans and onlookers wondering where the truth actually lies between these conflicting narratives and whether there would be any resolution to this very public disagreement. 50 Cent and Soulja Boy eventually addressed the XXL magazine controversy that had sparked part of Vivica's comments. Their explanation painted a completely different picture than what had been implied. Soulja Boy spoke about their genuine connection, explaining that they shared a bond based on similar come-up stories, both having risen from difficult circumstances to build successful careers. He even made the significant statement that if there wasn't no 50 Cent, there would be no Soulja Boy, acknowledging 50's influence on his career path. 50 reciprocated this respect, remarkably stating that if he could emulate another artist, he'd choose Soulja Boy. This mutual admiration society between the two rappers stood in stark contrast to the implications Vivica had made about their relationship. Interestingly, their unified front against Vivica's comments and their coordinated social media attacks led some observers to wonder if there might actually be something to her insinuations. The protesting too much angle certainly crossed some people's minds. In the aftermath, Vivica did extend an apology to Soulja Boy for dragging him into the situation. However, notably absent was any similar apology to 50 Cent, despite him arguably deserving one as well. Perhaps she was simply trying to avoid further social media warfare with her ex, knowing how quickly things had escalated previously. Meanwhile, Jaguar Wright wasn't backing down from her original claims. She doubled down on her accusations about 50 and Soulja Boy's alleged secret relationship, suggesting that 50's habit of calling out other celebrities was classic projection behavior. It's worth noting that 50 has indeed made a habit of questioning the sexuality of various industry figures over the years, with P. Diddy and Jay-Z receiving particularly persistent attention from him. There's a growing contingent of observers who can't help but wonder if Vivica's implications might contain kernels of truth. Their reasoning isn't baseless speculation, but rather comes from analyzing patterns in 50 Cent's behavior over the years. First, there's the matter of Vivica's unique perspective. As someone who shared intimate moments with 50, she possesses insights that the public simply doesn't have access to. Their relationship, while relatively brief, was intense enough that she still refers to him as the love of her life years later. This suggests she knew him on a level few others did, giving her observations a certain weight that casual commentators lack. More telling is 50's consistent reaction pattern whenever questions about his arise. For a man who has built his brand on being unflappable in the face of criticism, these particular comments seem to trigger an unusually defensive response. Each time the topic emerges, his reactions appear disproportionately aggressive and personal, as if he's fighting to protect something more significant than just his public image. Perhaps most revealing is 50's own habit of questioning or outright declaring other celebrities' his persistent focus on figures like P. Diddy and Jay-Z, repeatedly insinuating or joking about their sexual orientation, strikes many as classic projection behavior. Psychology has long recognized that individuals sometimes attack others for qualities they're uncomfortable acknowledging in themselves. This pattern of deflection, attacking others for the very thing you fear being accused of, is what makes some people pause and consider whether Vivica might have touched on something authentic. When someone consistently tries to out others or makes their a punchline, while simultaneously reacting with such visceral anger when similar speculation is directed their way, it creates a contradiction that's difficult to ignore. 50 Cent's approach to questioning others' has been anything but subtle over the years. Take, for instance, his provocative social media post featuring a photo collage of Diddy with Rick Ross, and another with executive Steve Stout. His caption, "I ain't saying nothing, but something isn't right," was the definition of saying something while pretending not to. The first image appeared to show Diddy and Ross in what could be misconstrued as an intimate moment during a performance, while the second highlighted both men wearing similar pink outfits. Though he technically never made an explicit accusation about Diddy, the implication was unmistakable. This passive-aggressive approach has become something of a signature move for 50, making suggestive comments while maintaining just enough plausible deniability to avoid direct confrontation. Meanwhile, Jaguar Wright has continued to double down on her allegations about both 50 and Soulja Boy, bringing increasingly specific claims to the public. Her recent statements about Soulja Boy have been particularly graphic and detailed. According to Wright, there's supposed evidence of an incident where Soulja was allegedly ejected from a room naked by what she refers to as his sponsors, with security cameras capturing footage of him snaking into the hallway in a compromised state. Her allegations didn't stop there. Wright went on to claim she personally viewed explicit footage involving Soulja Boy and this unnamed sponsor while visiting a friend's residence. These increasingly specific and sensational claims have added another layer of controversy to an already complicated situation. What makes these allegations particularly challenging to navigate is their unverifiable nature. They're serious claims without publicly available evidence, yet specific enough in their details to be difficult to dismiss entirely. This creates a perfect storm for ongoing speculation that neither confirms nor disproves anything conclusively, leaving the public to wonder where the truth actually lies amid these conflicting narratives. And you remember that magazine cover? Well, that has been the bane of their existence. The November 2010 issue of XXL magazine featured none other than 50 Cent and Soulja Boy in what many have described as a rather unusual pose. 50 was photographed wearing what resembled a sadomasochistic face mask while standing extremely close to Soulja Boy, positioned in a way that some interpreted as possessive or suggestive, as Jaguar put it, like he was showcasing his prize pony. At the time of its release, the cover generated significant buzz online, with many fans questioning the artistic direction and why both artists would agree to such a provocative image. In retrospect, with Jaguar's allegations swirling, some are revisiting this cover with new eyes, wondering if there might have been more to the story than just an edgy photo shoot concept. Jaguar didn't stop at referencing the magazine cover. Her allegations expanded to include claims about 50's past, suggesting he had engaged in intimate relationships with prison inmates whom he allegedly paid for their silence. People talk, she asserted, implying that despite financial incentives, these stories had made their way to her. She even pointed to 50's real estate choices and interior design preferences as supposed evidence, claiming that his renovation of Mike Tyson's former residence featured decor that she described as feminine, while personal style choices are hardly evidence of sex. temptation. Jaguar framed this as hypocritical given 50's public persona centered around traditional masculinity. Perhaps most directly, Jaguar claimed that while 50 has relationships with various LGBTQ+ celebrities, he has never included himself in that community, suggesting this is a deliberate omission. She also asserted that while 50 may have succeeded in silencing Vivica Fox on this topic, she herself would not be so easily quieted. These allegations, while unverified, continue to fuel speculation about the disconnect between 50's public image and what might be happening behind closed doors. Whether there's any substance to these claims remains unclear, but they've certainly added fuel to an already blazing controversy. As this celebrity drama continues to unfold, many onlookers find themselves in an uncomfortable position, trying to decide which side of this messy dispute deserves their sympathy, if either. The court of public opinion seems increasingly divided on whether to align with Vivica Fox or 50 Cent. On one side, there's Vivica, a 60-year-old actress who, according to critics, appears to be chasing youth through cosmetic procedures like her alleged BBL. Some find her comments about potentially reconciling with 50 Cent contradictory to her public accusations about his sex. Her behavior at promotional events, complete with thrones and elaborate setups, strikes some as attention-seeking, particularly when she continues to reference a relationship that ended nearly 2 decades ago. These observers question whether her insinuations about 50's stem from genuine concern or lingering resentment over their breakup. On the other hand, 50 Cent's reactions haven't exactly painted him in a favorable light either. His immediate deflection when faced with questions about coupled with his harsh attacks on Vivica's appearance, suggests someone who might be hitting below the belt to distract from uncomfortable truths. His pattern of calling out other celebrities while reacting defensively when similar speculation is directed his way has raised eyebrows. Many wonder why someone so comfortable dishing out provocative comments becomes so uncomfortable receiving them. The public seems caught between criticizing Vivica for what some see as age-inappropriate behavior and attention-seeking tactics, versus calling out 50 for potentially hypocritical deflection and unnecessarily cruel comments about a former partner's appearance. Neither party comes across as particularly mature in this exchange, leaving fans and followers wondering if there's anyone to root for in this situation. What's perhaps most telling is how this feud has exposed vulnerabilities in both celebrities: Vivica's apparent need for validation and attention, and 50's seemingly fragile ego when certain aspects of his persona are questioned. As the drama continues to play out on social media, many observers find themselves not so much taking sides as simply watching in fascination as two public figures reveal their insecurities through their attacks on each other. So what do you think? Comment down below and let us know. If you like this video, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to see my next video. I post updates like this every week where I uncover the secrets of your favorite celebrities.